Hello and welcome to the Natural State Update. I'm Christina Munoz. We start today with the story on one of our contributors, but on the other side of the camera. Former consumer reporter Jason Peterson has recently written a book, and if you're a fan of his or a fan of TV news in general, this is definitely a book you'll want to read.
I left television and I still had a lot of stories to tell.
And that's why Jason Peterson wrote Somebody's Knocking, Lessons Learned from a Quarter Century of TV Reporting.
So this book, Somebody's Knocking, is kind of the stories behind the stories, in addition to revisiting and updating some of those stories. So it's just a look at my 20 years as the 7 on Your Side reporter at Channel 7.
For more than 2 decades, bad guys in Arkansas dreaded getting a knock on the door from 7 on Your Side reporter Jason Peterson.
It was always interesting, a lot of times an adrenaline rush. I always had a photographer with me, so I was never truly scared for my life or for my health or safety. But I mean, the very first chapter, the introduction of the book, starts off with one of those confrontations. So I mean, we start the book off with a bang, and there's plenty of confrontations to follow.
And not only can you read about those confrontations, you actually can watch many of them.
Throughout my career, I always thought I might write a book someday, so I saved clips. Maybe it was on a tape, maybe it was on a DVD, maybe it was on a thumb drive. I never quite knew how I would incorporate those into a book. I thought it would maybe come with a DVD. But with QR codes in the pandemic and everyone scanning them on menus, that, light bulb, I can use QR codes throughout the book. So if I'm talking about a confrontation or an exchange, you could scan it with your phone and watch it. It'll lead you to some of the unsolved mysteries that I covered. It'll lead you to some of the confrontations with scamsters or scoundrels. It will lead you to just some of the more interesting stories that I've covered through the years. There's over 40 QR codes that you could scan. You don't have to scan them all. It'll make reading the book more tedious, but much more enjoyable.
It's all about creating a fun experience for the reader.
So I could tell you about the time where I brought my 2 kids to Saturday Daybreak because I didn't have a babysitter and told them to stay in the break room and not come down into the studio, and they disobeyed me and showed up on set. I do tell about that, and it's funny, but to scan the QR code and watch it is hilarious.
All right, just wave to everybody.
Wave
and then,
at everybody.
Go see Lucky the dog.
Oh my
see
gosh,
Lucky.
So who will enjoy this book?
If you are a Channel 7 fan, this book is ideally written for you. It has all of the scams, the scoundrels, the personalities. It's not all about me. We talk about Paul Leals, we talk about Ann Presley, we talk about the celebrity karaoke events, we talk about, a lot of the people who you have grown familiar with if you've watched Channel 7 over the past 3 decades. If you're not a big Channel 7 watcher, even maybe from out of state, people where I'm from in Wisconsin, I think you'll still like it because each chapter ends with lessons learned. It looks at stories I covered and what did I learn from it and what can you by default learn from it.
And it's a must-read for all journalists.
I really hope that young journalists gravitate to this book because I think it offers a lot about the process, it offers a lot about the job, things that you don't necessarily learn in high school or college. Russellville High School's ordered 20 copies. They're going to read it, and I hope, and a journalism professor at the U of A said he loves it. So, I do think that if you are interested in journalism and want to hear from someone who experienced it for 28 years, this would be a good book for you. But it's also interesting for people who maybe are skeptical about journalism, who have reservations about journalism, who have turned on journalism. I think maybe it will open your eyes and maybe bring you back a little bit.
But it really does have something for everyone.
I hope people pick it up, enjoy it. I hope they like the trips down memory lane. If you like Arkansas history, if you like Arkansas sports, if you like Arkansas unsolved true crime, all those genres in a bookstore are really packed into this book, including advice, So it's got a lot for a lot of people, and I hope you pick it up.
To buy the book, go to jasonpetersonbook.com. You can also see upcoming events and book signings. Lots of entertainment options in the next several weeks, including the continuation of Guys and Dolls at Red Curtain Theater here in Conway, which includes myself and my entire family. So here's Amanda Horton with more.
I'm Amanda Horton, Executive Director of Public Appearance at University of Central Arkansas, and this is my friend Shrek. We're coming to you from the Reynolds Performance Hall box office, where we recently kicked off our single ticket sales. We have so many fabulous performances, including Shrek the Musical on September 9th. Go to our website, check out our lineup, and buy your tickets today. The Conway Symphony Orchestra, who performs on our campus, will start selling their season subscriptions on August 15th and their single tickets on September 20th. However, you don't need a ticket for their first concert because it's a free concert. Come to their annual concert in the park on September 20th at Laurel Park in Conway. Bring your blankets, picnic baskets, and join in on the fun. Another free event will take place in North Little Rock. Ballet Arkansas will present Bold New Moves in Argenta Plaza on September 13th through the 15th. Now, let's talk about music. Chris Stapleton will perform at Simmons Bank Arena on August 22nd. Simmons Bank will also host Chicago and Earth, Wind & Fire on August 26th, and in September they'll have Dwight Yoakam. The Hall in Little Rock always has a diverse selection of entertainment. This month they have Cinderella's Tom Kiefer, Corey Smith, and so many more. The Rev Room, located in the heart of the Little Rock River Market, has some exciting shows including Dylan Carmichael, Drake White, the Ultimate Linkin Park Tribute, and Bricks in the Wall, the sight and sounds of Pink Floyd. If you like an outdoor concert, the Turnpike Troubadours will perform at the First Security Amphitheater on August 17th. Magic Springs and Hot Springs will end their summer concert series with some big names including Lecrae, Night Ranger, and Roots and Boots, featuring Sammy Kershaw, Aaron Tippin, and Colin Ray. Oaklawn and Hot Springs has country singer Gabby Barrett on August 30th and alternative rock band The Gin Blossoms on September 13th. If theater is what you're looking for, there is so much to choose from all over the state. Walton Arts Center in Fayetteville will present Hamilton August 16th through the 25th. This is essential theater for all arts lovers, and if you haven't seen it, then take the short drive. You won't be sorry. They also have Bluey's Big Play in September for all your little theater goers. While you're in Fayetteville, you should add Theater Squared to your agenda. They will have a Raisin in the Sun through September 15th. Red Curtain Theater right here in Conway will present the romantic comedy Guys and Dolls. They also have the Lion King Kids hitting the stage in September. This will be a perfect show to introduce your little ones to the theater. The Royal Theater in Benton will present The Hunchback of Notre Dame in August. Celebrity Attractions will present The Adventurous Story of Peter Pan, September 13th through the 15th. Murray's Dinner Playhouse is presenting the beloved Southern hit Steel Magnolias with a cast of leading ladies. The Rep, in partnership with the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra, will present Hello Dolly. Please note this show will be performed at the Robinson Center Music Hall. Just across the river in North Little Rock, Argenta Contemporary Theater will present The Sunshine Boys, September 11th through the 21st. Finally, I want to draw your attention to a very unique, immersive experience right here in Arkansas. The Van Gogh Immersive Art Experience will be in Little Rock, and you can step into a 20,000 square foot light and sound spectacular exhibit showcasing Van Gogh's most prominent work. This is an experience you don't want to miss. For the Natural State Update, I'm Amanda Horton.
Thanks, Amanda. For the latest in financial news and ongoings, we go to Scott Inman with the fastest 4 minutes in finance.
A lesson in panic selling in this week's fastest 4 minutes in finance. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Scott Inman. Well, we record this video on Wednesday mornings so that we give our crew enough time to do the production wizardry that they do in time to send it to subscribers' email inboxes on Friday morning. And you may be listening to the audio version of the Fastest Four, which airs on radio on Saturdays and is available on podcast. Now, I say all that to say a lot has happened in the stock market since we recorded last week on July 31st. The first 3 trading days of August were awful. Triggered by some disappointing economic data, the S&P 500 index dropped like a rock. Now, as we review the data, we were a bit perplexed. Yes, employment data missed on expectations, and yes, the ISM manufacturing data showed that an economic slowdown is happening. But that's been pretty clear for months. Not to mention, for the most part, investors have been excited to see disappointing data. The general sentiment has been that if the economy slows, the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates, which would help stimulate the economy and we would miss a recession. That's the so-called soft landing scenario. But this time around, the bad news was actually seen as bad news. Then, Monday, Japan raised interest rates. That was a surprise move and shook global markets, including the United States. According to our partners at LPL Research, this was due in large part to what's called the carry trade. This is when investors borrow in a currency with low interest rates and invest in a currency with relatively higher interest rates. It's like a margin call, forcing borrowed currency to be repaid. At its low point, the S&P 500 was off about 6.8% in those 3 days. The NASDAQ dropped 9.5% over the same period. There was likely some panic selling involved here. Investors were jumping off what they perceived as a sinking ship. But then came Tuesday, and so far this Wednesday, the day we are recording the video. In those 2 trading days, the S&P 500 has climbed back almost 3%, and the NASDAQ has reclaimed about 4%. So what's the lesson here? It would be expected that watching the market drop would make you as an investor want to get out of the market until things got more stable. But what if you did? Did you think things were stable by Tuesday and Wednesday? Not likely. So if you got out of the market as it was falling and didn't get back in time to get the bounce back, where would that leave you over a long period of time? The data suggests that the average investor underperforms the stock market by a significant percentage, mainly because they try to time the market. It's impossible to perfectly time the market because, as this week has proven, you have to be right twice. Remember, pullbacks and corrections are normal, even in good times. Check out this chart from LPL Research. From 1928 through this year, the S&P 500 index has averaged 7.2 3% or more dips per year, 3.4 pullbacks of more than 5%, and at least one 10% correction per year. Knowing when they will happen is less important than knowing that they will happen. Staying invested through the volatility is the best way to stay on track for your goals. Thanks for watching.
Want to become smarter financially in 4 minutes or less? Sign up at fastest4.com to get insights and updates like this delivered to your inbox weekly.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you for watching Natural State Update.